Okay, the company is 3M, and we're gonna do the financial analysis presentation. Well, the history of the company, they beginning in the 90s too, like involving in mining and mineral deposit for grinding water abrasives. Well, the years passed and the 90s and the 80s, they explored new markets like pharmaceutical, computer, office, telecommunication, and electronic markets. In the shareholder, the most highest shareholder that they have is the Vanguard Group that have 8.9%. The more higher percent, or the most higher percent, have the company. Okay, in the business is the development, research, and market diversified products and services to different business areas. And his brands, they have 7 brands, and the most representative is the brand of Posit.
Okay, we respect macroeconomic environment system of United States. We respect politics, and they have representative democracy, bipartisan systems, political stability, trade tension with China, conflict with Iran in crisis. Aspect economic, economy grew 2.3% 2019. The employment rate in these years was 3.7%, and GPD in 2019 was 2,427,700,000,000. The economy based essentially on service. These are distributed more at the GPA. The company has economic flexibility. Aspect social culture. Population in 2018 was 328 million, 2 million. High level of migration, positive attitudes toward enterprise. Aspect legal is the first in market sophistication. They have intellectual property rights protection laws. And finally, legal system agency, EPA, the organization for decline for society.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the 3M strategy. According to the commercial strategy, 3M produces billions of net revenues per year from the selling of goods with high level of innovation through 4 separate business segments or markets. Operative strategy. 3M is a company which operates in more than 75 countries. 65 countries, producing 55,000 products. The company works as a global company. And finally, financial strategy. 3M has embarked on a massive reshuffling of his business model from 40 different business lines to 23. They also sold out his communications market to prioritize the 4 markets that I said. Next.
In this part, we are going to talk about threats and opportunities of the company. I'm going to mention one per each one. Threats. There are many companies and people that are selling fraud products of this brand. And there's a news that said that those people are selling those fraud products in Florida, Wisconsin, and Indiana. And an opportunity because of coronavirus, they will double their production and increase their sales. And they are part of Apollo project.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the vertical analysis of the company. In this case, income statement. So the gross margin has remained within a stable range between 46 and 49, as we can see in the graphic. And also the last year, the operating and net income have dropped. The tax expenses was lower in the last year, so they are paying less taxes. And they did large investment in research and development. Next. Okay, according to the vertical analysis in balance sheet, so we can see that goodwill has increased. This is because of the reputation of the company. 3M has more non-current assets than current assets in a ratio of 29 and 71 in last year. And finally, liabilities has increased until the 77% of the assets. This is because the company is getting debts, especially in long term. Horizontal analysis of the income statement. So The sales have decreased and the cost of sales have increased. This is because the company had less net income in the last year. And also 3M has invested in research and development. And finally, they are paying less taxes. So we can see in the net income that tax. Next, please. Horizontal analysis of the balance sheet. So the last year, the property, plant, and equipment has increased, surely because they get a factory. For that, the asset has increased in 22% in the last year. The current asset has dropped since 2017. 3M has less liquidity. And finally, the liabilities has increased in the last year. This is because they are getting debts and they are using short-term borrowings. Thank you.
Okay, in the liquidity ratios, we could see that the current ratio are very highest because have 2, so that represent that, well, we could see that the difference between the current ratio and the quick ratio are very highest, and that represents that it's very important to the current, the inventory, and the current assets. Also, we could see that the current ratio and the quick ratio are decreasing. Well, in the average operating efficiency ratio, we could see the average of that in that graph, and we can see that the days payables outstanding are 42 days. That represent that the company needs have money to pay in that day because his operating cycle is too long, so they have to need money to pay that. Also, we could see that day payables outstanding are increasing more than the others, than inventory and sales, that represent that in the years are the days of payable are increasing. That represent that the company always are having more time to pay. Well, in the working capital management strategy, well, we could see that the current assets and the current liabilities are being more shorter, so that represents the working capital are decreasing. Also, if we could see the strategy, well, the company are using the conservative strategy because they are financing with fixed assets, current assets, and long-term debt. That represent the company want to have the less risk in the operations.
I'm gonna talk about the cash flow analysis. So 3M has always had high cash flow. According to the operating activities, there is a steady growth in cash flow inflows, which is positive. And also, according to the investing activities, the last period of 3M the company has invested with very large values, probably did an acquisition. According to the financial activities, the value of 2018 is higher. This is because they did they purchased treasury stocks in large quantities. And 3M has been paying dividends to its shareholders every year, and this was increasing. The exchange rate has a negative effect on the cash flow, as we can see. And finally, 3M can cover its expenses due to his liquidity, which makes a solvent company.
In this part, we're going to talk about cost of capital, which is the WACC. For this analysis, we take into consideration several variables. In the first 6 years, the liability are pretty much similar as the equity, and then the rest of the year, the liability increased almost the double. Here, we found out new that it said 3M eliminated 2,000 positions worldwide due to low demand in order to end a saving at the end of the year of 2019.
Okay, financial performance measures, NOPAT, EVA, and EBIT analysis. Both indicators have a growing trend until 2017, As of these dates, these indicators fail because operating income has not grown as much as in previous years. It has grown in a smaller percentage. Next. ROIC analysis. ROIC can vary if the company have more profits or because they invested in capital. For every dollar the company invested in 2019, they earned $0.31. Okay, next. Historical profit sensitivity. Okay, in this analysis, we will assume a possible situation if our 2019 ROI increasing by 5, 7, 15, and 20%. Also, what will happen if 3M issues shares with a percentage increase of 1, 2, 3, and 4%? Next. Okay, in this case, it's assuming rate of inflation. The rate of the United States inflation rate is from 0 to 0.21%. In another country, the maximum limit is 3%, but there are cases of 5 and 7%. We will assume an optimist case and pessimist case regarding the 3M operating profit, because by the COVID, it's possible that the prices rise and that cause inflation. Next, thank you.
I'm going to talk about the DDM model analysis and forecast. So we had 7 years to forecast, and we got some assumptions. First, the growth for the 2020 will be 20% because of the sales of masks and due to the coronavirus. And the next assumption is that the company will grow, but in a conservative scenario until 2024, then a perpetual growth of 2%. So we had some results. The first is that the cost of capital in the last year is very high, which is 48%. And also in the year 2023, could sell a share in $20 with a dividend of $9. And finally, the share price today should be $17. Next.
Okay, about the analysis of possible risks. Well, the question is, what things do the shareholder earn less? So the first is the low cost competitions, because 3M have a very are present in a lot of countries and a lot of continents, and one of the continents are the Asian continent. And well, the companies Asian always have the strategy of low cost. So 3M is, in sometimes they do the same. That low cost do that the revenue be less. So that could be like do less the earnings for the shareholders. Other are the regulation of chemical products, because in the development countries, the exists regulation that do the 3M have to change his products or do more developments to be more healthy. So that's do that the company invest a lot, that also do that the shareholders or could be that the revenue be less. And then finally is the pharmaceutical losses, because all the companies that have the sector that is pharmaceutical all have losses, because the products are for the health of for people. Do that the people have, if the people have problem with that, the people could be that losses that do that the company have to pay, so they earn less money than do the shareholders, like in consequence earn also less money.
For the last part is the financial structure, and we will see how they finance themselves. Okay, here we are compare 3 more companies from the same sector or industry. The first one is Honeywell, then General Electric, and the last one, Emerson. 3M use more the liabilities. Honeywell, they spend more in their capital, and General Electric use more their liabilities too. And finally, Emerson, they has stable radios, so it's a good company too. And well, you can see in this graphic the differences, and well, all our information you can find it in our Excel and Word document. And finally, as a group, we conclude that 3M is a good company to invest our money. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.